The release of the M2 iPad Pro has been underwhelming, to say the least. We didn't even get the event, instead we just got a press release of the iPad that's identical to the M1 iPad Pro that I am just holding. And I can use this thing for a video because this is literally the same iPad. Like, the functionality, the design, everything about this iPad is pretty much identical. And yes, the rant toward the M2 iPad Pro has been fully justified. And, even as an Apple fanboy, I cannot say much about it. But the more I think about this iPad, the more I came to the conclusion that it's not as bad as we all thought. And while the M1 iPad Pro is still the iPad I would recommend for most people due to the similarities to the latest model and the price being lower, that still doesn't mean that if you are into M2 iPad Pro buying market, this isn't the iPad for you. And the reasoning behind this video, the overall concept behind this video is this. If the previous iPad Pro models are so great and so recommended for the value they offer and for the price that is now lower, the M2 iPad Pro is just a step above them, even though it's extremely similar to the previous models, even though it's long due for a redesign, because let's face it, we've had the same screen on an 11-inch model since 2018. Like literally, there was no change, just copy and paste to the next models Apple was implementing. And the only thing that we got when it came to the design was changing in 2020 the camera design, which objectively, well, subjectively actually, looks better in my opinion. But like other than that, the design is pretty much identical. It still holds up really well, it still looks good, but it's long due for a redesign right now. And while the critique of the M2 model stands and will stand for a long time, and it's well justified, we cannot forget that despite that design that now requires some changes, despite that display that again has been pretty much unchanged, and despite the software being limiting, this is still the best iPad. Like, this is still the iPad that's better than the 2018 model, the 2020 model, and even the M1 model, because it's an upgrade. And for those who want the best possible model and don't mind spending the cash, and you just want to future-proof yourself as much as possible, you just want to get the latest iPad Pro, like the M2 iPad Pro is still the way to go. And it's not like I'm gonna suddenly recommend the M2 iPad Pro because in many countries the prices went up. But if the price is not a concern to you and you wanna get the latest and greatest model, which, let's face it, is not gonna be refreshed for at least a year, like, this is still the choice. This is still the iPad that has absolutely sick performance, especially when it comes to graphics with that M2 model that is still super smooth, that is still extremely blazingly fast, has great speakers, Thunderbolt port, all the capabilities of the iPad. And for those who say that iPad Air is the way to go, well, what about promotion? What about higher brightness, even though it's an LCD display? What about better speakers, better microphones, ultra-wide camera? What about the Thunderbolt port? What about more storage capabilities? What about, slightly slimmer bezels? These are still the reasons to go for the iPad Pro. And the M2 iPad Pro is still the best iPad you can buy. Do I recommend it? Well, it's really hard for me, considering the prices and considering the fact that the M1 iPad Pro, people were talking about future-proofing. Like, this is already the model, even though it's almost 2 years old. This is already the model that has been supposed to be future-proofed, and it is. So, like, the argument of constant future-proofing and, more and more performance, while it's valid in many ways, because there is no such thing as too much performance. And yes, maybe we won't be able to take advantage of that M2 chip in that new iPad Pro, but like 3 years from now, we may start noticing some differences. So like, I wouldn't discredit completely the aspect of performance, but I'm just saying that if you wanna get a great deal with still top performance, pretty much, unequal in the world of smartphones and tablets, the M1 iPad Pro is still the way to go. And like, you cannot go wrong with this model. But if the money is not an issue and you are looking for the best possible product you can get, the M2 iPad Pro is here for you, because that's the point of this upgrade. While it's an extremely small upgrade, it's still, at least for some people, at least maybe for the people in the US where the prices are still the same, like, you are getting objectively a better iPad for the same price. So it's not like this is the worst deal ever, the worst iPad ever, because while all the critique is valid, this is still the best iPad Pro you can buy. Heck, this is still the best iPad you can buy, and probably the best tablet you can buy. So like, while the critique, as I said, is justified, let's not forget that this is still the best iPad you can buy. I hope you enjoyed this video, hope you enjoyed my conclusion. I'm really curious what you think about the M2 iPad Pro, because as I said, I critique this device in many ways, but I still think, well, I still know this is the best iPad you can buy, even though it's not the best deal you can get. So I'm really curious to know your opinion about this product. If you like the video, make sure to press the like button, smash that subscribe button. And now we are really putting on the work when it comes to this channel. So if you decide to stay with me, you will see some top progress here on this channel. Hopefully you enjoyed. Until next time.